Hi there, folks. I'm Gene of RPG, and welcome back to more... I was going to say Persona 4. No, to more Final Fantasy 1, the Pixel Remastered Edition. Last time, we defeated the vampire and got a star ruby. Hi, buddy. I don't know. But yes, apparently that has not fixed the problem here in Melmond. Maybe we need to go and meet this Sada person. I'm not sure. Of course, I'm kind of lying there. I know exactly what we have to do. But first... Oh, I thought he'd talk to... He'd tell us something. Yes, we need to go and find that wise man Sada because, well, the Earth is still decaying. Obviously, the vampire was not the cause of the problem. It probably wasn't helping, but not the cause. So, maybe you guys remember from last time, one of the townspeople told us about a golem that likes to eat gems. Well, that's who we need to go and see. After all, we got something he might like. But first, new enemies, Hyenodons. They're hyenas. That's it. They're cannon fodder. So let me see here. I believe the cave is down this way. Aha! Yes, it is. There it is. The Giant's Cave. Hi there. You have Star Ruby? Give me Star Ruby, and I let you pass. Nothing tastier than rubies? What? How did he do that? Yes, there are encounters in here, but I believe they're the same things that you encounter on the overworld, such as lesser tigers. No, really, though. How did he do that? Well, before we take the staircase out of here, let's head down here to find some treasure. But first, antidotes. Again, poison's going to be something that's going to be a nuisance throughout the whole game. A great axe, 620 gil, a mithril helmet, and 450 gil. All right, the great axe, I believe, is only slightly... Well, no, I guess it's quite a bit weaker. I could have sworn it was only slightly weaker than the mithril axe, but I'm mistaken, obviously. Regardless, only so-so treasure. I mean, I do like money, and I can sell that stuff. That's a lot of shadows. But we head down this way, and inside of this cave is where the sage lives. Hopefully he hasn't lost his eye either. Treasure? Nah, no treasure. I actually really hate rooms like this in these games because there is nothing, not a darn thing in here. Nothing to examine, no text, nothing. I hate it. If you're gonna have a room like that, it should at least be in something interesting. Doesn't have to be treasure, just something interesting. Hi there. So, you are the ones who defeated the vampire, eh? He was but a servant. The beast corrupting the earth crystal lurks much deeper within the cavern. Here, take this staff with you and use it behind the vampire's chamber. Yeah, we got the earth rod. How do you know this, old man? Restore the crystals to grace. Okay, well, you're not going to tell us. He's the one who's doing it. But yes, with the Earth Rod, we now get to go back through the Earth Cave. Goblins? What? Okay. That was weird. Not sure why there are goblins over here. But yes, now we get to go back through the Earth Cave. Again, all the way back to where we fought the vampire. Which, obviously, I'm not going to make you guys watch me go all the way back. So I will see you guys at the vampire's chamber in the Earth Cavern. Alrighty, so here we are. This is the vampire's chamber all the way on the 3rd floor of the Earth Cavern. You probably already put 2 and 2 together, but we need to use the Earth Rod on the evil slab here. So that it reveals a staircase. Which lets us delve deeper into the Earth Cavern. With, I believe, the exact same encounters we've encountered up to this point, so, yeah. Final Fantasy I, it's very much set up to where the challenge was getting to where you need to go. Not so much the bosses themselves, getting there. Fighting through the hordes and hordes of enemies. Like cockatrices. Seriously, I've been petrified like 8 times from these things on the way down here. Also, a fun fact that I did not know until my trip down here. You still get EXP even if a character's petrified. They'll still get EXP. Little weird, but hey, I'm not complaining. Monsters! Ooh, actually a new enemy, the Ogre Mage. It is stronger than the Ogre Chief, but it can do magic. I believe it does ice magic, unless I'm thinking of Final Fantasy II, which is a very distinct possibility. Either way, a Thundaga or a Faraga will likely kill them. At least from Ted. Yay, a staff. We found a stick. That is a problem, actually, with the first 2 Final Fantasy games, is a lot of the treasure chests kind of contain junk. And I do mean junk. Like, that sells for, what, like 2 gil, maybe? I don't mind the chests where you get money, because you need money. But yeah, it's the basic staff that you could get in the very first town. It's trash. Ah, some more new enemies, though. The Sphinx. I know they can poison you. I think they can petrify you as well. I might be wrong about that. Regardless, they're not very tough enemies. As you can see. They do give a fair bit of EXP, though, for no more than how hard they are. And yes, more Sphinx. But yeah, like, we've gotten, what? Outdated equipment, a knife, a staff, and money from chest potion, antidote. I mean, I'm not too sour about those, but yeah, the first 2 Final Fantasy games are pretty rampant with that. Granted, there are chests that contain good stuff, but a lot of it is just junk. So, before we go on, I noticed this a moment ago because Billy leveled up. I'd like to point out his strength stat is at 23 right now, which is huge, for the record. In the NES version, and I think the Origins version of the game, the warrior or fighter's starting strength was 20. So at this point, it would likely have been, what? Probably closer to 30. as opposed to the 23. It's absurd how strong the fighter is. It's just a little thing to take note of. Alright, that's the way down, but I'm pretty sure there's another door around here with some treasure. And yes, I'm tired of cutting battles right this minute, so you guys are going to watch the 2-second troll fight, alright? Monsters! This same fight again! So, I suppose something I should probably actually talk about that I'm pretty sure I thought I said I'd bring up. Ooh, a tent. That's actually not terrible. Is the game's spell slot system. You might notice, if you're familiar with Dungeons & Dragons, that it's a very similar kind of deal, and that's because originally, the NES version of Final Fantasy was based very heavily off of Dungeons & Dragons. A lot of it was structured in the same way that Dungeons & Dragons was, including the spell slots. Now, the problem with that is that there was no way to restore spell slots in the original Final Fantasy 1 unless you were to use a tent, or I believe it was actually called a house in the NES version, to restore spell slots, which you could only do on the field or staying at an inn. You know, very much akin to, like, the long rest that you can get in I was going to say in Final Fantasy, in Dungeons & Dragons. However, in Dungeons & Dragons, I think it's actually pretty rare that you encounter nearly as many fights as you do here in Final Fantasy 1, just going through a dungeon. And you can actually take a long rest basically anywhere, as long as, you know, you're making sure it's safe and everything. But, like, we can't sleep. But, like, we cannot sleep inside of this cave. Whereas if this was Dungeons & Dragons, we would probably set up camp somewhere in here. It is a design flaw, in my opinion. And I'm actually not a big fan of the spell slot system in Final Fantasy 1. I think the change to magic points MP is a much smarter choice. But this isn't the only Final Fantasy game to have spell slots, so just something to bring up while we're going through all these same fights that we've seen so many times now. So many times now because we've had to go through this dungeon technically twice now. I can also say magic wasn't even remotely as good in the NES version. In the NES version of Final Fantasy 1 because, well, like 90% of the spells were bugged or just straight up didn't do anything. Like, they were not programmed to do anything. And the attacking spells were also technically bugged because the intellect stat was bugged. Which means that no matter what class or character cast a spell, that spell would do the same thing, no matter who cast it. So, whereas in this version, for example, Ted here has a 36 intellect compared to Bobby's 22, and so Ted's black magic spells clearly hit way harder. That would not be the case in the original. Oh, thank goodness. We found a marble? Alright, so here we go. The actual boss of the Earth Cave. Okay. So, the Lich here, he uses, well, magic, obviously. He primarily uses Blizzara. So, I want to start off by using Null Frost with our White Mage. And I use Temper with our Red Mage on the Warrior. I also want to use Haste on the warrior to get him buffed up, because the Lich, even though he is undead, which means he is technically susceptible to fire as well as the Dia spells. In fact, the Dia spells will probably do the best against him. Because he is an Archfiend and such, he doesn't actually get hit very hard by magic. Alright, so we're going to use Temperance on our red mage now, and let's go ahead and use Proterra to boost our party's defense as well, and let's use Haste on Bobby. And with this, we should be set up pretty nicely. Okay, well that's obnoxious. Well, regardless, we're set up. Let's go ahead and let's test out Diaga on him. I don't want to use all of my spell slots with Betty. Or all of that level of spell slot, because that's where our Heal Aura spell is, and that's our group heal, rather. 274, that's actually not bad at all, but again, that's because he's susceptible to fire. And since he slowed us, we're only getting a couple of hits. Couple of hits off on him. But it's okay, we'll be fine. Because the Lich does not, surprisingly, doesn't have very much HP. And with that, we restored the Earth Crystal. And finally, the game is starting to throw us a bone. They have these teleport pads, these teleport circle things here that will just let us teleport out of the dungeon. Thank goodness I don't gotta walk back out. But yeah, the Lich surprisingly does not have that much HP, no matter what version of the game you're playing. He also didn't use Blizzara on us, which is usually what he does. Yeah, the Lich only has 1200 HP. Not that much, all things considered. He's a mage, so... Yeah. Wait a minute, he's a mage and magic? Okay. But yeah, anyway, he's pretty easy to beat. You can drop a dry ether. That's swanky. But yeah, let's head back to Melmond and let them know we restored the Earth Crystal. Guys, I did it! I saved the world! Hi! That's all you have to say? Hi! And you're still just a farmer? Yeah, so nobody really has anything else to say. Alright, and so folks, next time on Final Fantasy I, the Pixel Remastered Edition, we're gonna actually go to Crescent Lake again. I'm Gene of RPG, and I'll see you guys then.